Ground Zero, Deep Learning Indaba at the University of Ghana. I think we're halfway through, right, Jade?
I think so. I've kind of lost track
Day
of the
4,
days.
right? It's Thursday.
Yes.
A lot's been happening, a lot of
Yeah.
sessions, a lot of workshops, a lot of keynotes. We're halfway through. What's your opinions? What's your take thus far?
I mean, it's always great. Super excited to be in Ghana.
Yes.
I think there's always the occasional hiccup and chaos as an organizer that you've got to run and solve. But I think overall, it's been super amazing experience. It's just been so wonderful. And I think Ghanaians are really some of the friendliest people in Africa and so helpful. So it's been very good. Yeah.
Jade, you've been around from when it first started, 2017. You're involved in Masakhane, you're involved in Lelapa AI. Now, I want you to walk me through the relationship between Deep Learning Indaba, the community, Masakhane, and Lelapa AI. Which organizations came first, and how did they feed into each other?
So the Deep Learning Indaba, the first time I attended it was as just an attendee.
Okay.
And I'd managed to rope in a bunch of sponsorship from the company I was working at. And I think my life changed. And among many others people's life changed at the first Indaba. Seeing the realization that this could, something that there was brewing in Africa, this critical yeast, as Shakir Mohammed from the trustees calls it. And so the Indaba was really this first spark. And from the Indaba and attending, from that point onwards, made a point to try attend each year and get as involved as I can. There was always this passion project I had, which was trying to work on language technology for our indigenous languages.
Okay.
And so one of the, upon trying to, I've gained all this information at the Indaba, I was like, great, let me go apply it. And upon doing so, I realized that there was a whole bunch of factors that were really missing in the language technology space. And so tried it for a little while, and two of us were having a conversation once, who were a small group who were trying to do this, and we we're like, we can't do it alone.
Oh, no.
And we really need like this whole Pan-African community to come do it together. And so at the Indaba in 2017, I think it was 2017 in Nairobi, we launched Masakhane. So we're like, okay, this will be a, child community of the Indaba. We had it at the NLP workshop, and so we immediately had this big group of people who were interested and passionate about their languages and understood what we cared about. And so that's where Masakhane kind of was birthed. And then continued online and continued through COVID, and actually did exceptionally well. So there was a lot of we had time, I guess. We weren't going anywhere.
Everybody was home.
We were home in
a lot of internet, so we might as well.
We were sitting online. There were lots of people coming from all over the place.
During that specific period, what were you, as a community, what were you building? What were you collaborating on?
So initially we were working on could each of us build, a translation model for our particular language that we cared about. And so the idea is that you would come with the language you knew and you cared about, and you train this translation model. We'd provided an easy way to do that with some code. We provided we found a data set that we had lots of languages in it. And the goal wasn't to create something perfect. The goal was to put it on the map. So many of these languages did not have representation in NLP at all. Nothing had been published ever. And so it was really just a first pass to be like, look, we're here.
Okay.
We're here, and look what we can do when we work together.
What are some of the languages? Swahili, what was it?
Swahili is, we don't even consider it one of the lower resource ones. So we had languages such as Fon, which is one that's just spoken in West Africa, in Benin.
Okay.
We'd have a number of the Southern African languages. I think we got all 11 official languages. We had many of the Nigerian languages. We had Tree from Ghana. There was I think we ended up with something like 40 or so languages.
Okay. From across the continent.
From across the continent that we built a translation model into either English or French.
Beautiful.
And so that was the first thing we did together, and we published that, and we actually won an award for that piece of research from Wikimedia. Yeah.
Then Masakhane then happened. Okay, Deep Learning Indaba happened, which birthed Masakhane. When does Lelapa AI then come into the fold?
Cool. So Lelapa AI comes in from this realization that the Deep Learning Indaba and Masakhane and other communities that have kind of spawned off of the Indaba and have around the Indaba, and I talk about the community of communities. It's all great, but at the end of the day, we're producing these fantastic, talent that's got PhDs, and what we see is a lot of people there's a brain drain, but not because people want to leave, simply because the institutions that allow them to do their work and do interesting work don't exist on the continent. And so Lelapa AI was saying, cool, well, we've got a lot of problems. Africa's got a lot of problems that the rest of the world certainly doesn't know how to solve. We know how to solve them. We've got all the talent. Let's create the structures and the institutions so that we can start having that. And let's try work on the startup ecosystem a bit more, because that's people can then, once they've studied, they can get jobs. We can work on these problems together. We can create products and solve real world problems. So it felt like a natural next step to saying, cool, we've got the community, we've got the talent that's been built up by this capacity building, extreme event. Where's the next step? What is the future? We'll fill up the universities, and then what? Let's keep them here, and let's create startups and businesses.
Jade, you've done so many projects. Masakhane and Lelapa AI, and all sourced from the community. When you benchmark the Indaba community, from a skills perspective and a knowledge perspective, are they sort of mature enough to take on tasks and projects of an international scale? Sort of what we deem complicated sort of algorithms or machine learning themes, do they have the necessary depth to take on those projects?
Absolutely. Okay. And I think one of the key things that the Indaba always insisted was that algorithmic depth. And so when you come to the Indaba, you can know nothing, and you'll leave with not only the mathematics, all the other algorithmic knowledge, and kind of state of the art. What is happening right now? You get exposed to that. Not only do you get exposed to it, you get exposed to the people who invented it. So the people from around the world who might have created this thing will come and teach you the thing, and you can go ask them questions and collaborate with them. And so that is... in that way, I think the Indaba has really built up, that sort of capacity. And it's not just the Indaba. Once again, we've got all these amazing communities on the board behind us. They've done very much the same thing. They said, cool, well, let's just get the best people from around the world. Let's get them in. Let's get them working with us. Let's all build our own capacity, and so that we can start sharing that within the communities. So.
I see this year, not this year. It started, a while ago, but then they went on a hiatus. The awards are back for the community. How important it is to, to highlight significant players, aspiring enthusiasts and scholars on their area of specialities and really work that stands out on the continent.
I think the awards, one of the things that really matters in terms of representation is visibility. And so not only should we be acknowledging the great work, which often goes under-acknowledged, often the stories are not told. We need to tell the stories so we can capture that. And we also need to tell the stories so that other people can read those stories and be like, I can be that person. I can see myself there. What an inspiration. They came from the town I grew up in, and so having that... that's what the awards really are for, is to be like, cool, this is the work you're not seeing that's happening on the continent. And I also think it does stuff for the rest of the world. If they didn't think there was anything happening there, we can now have got loads and loads of things we can point to be like, well, look at all this amazing work. It's hard to deny.
100%. Just share some insights. When you started out in natural language processing, in your early days, in university, fast forward now, where we, 7 years in with Indaba, from the continent, what insights or trends are more heightened? What are you seeing in terms of the landscape?
And I think I will definitely speak on the. I guess it's on the natural language processing area, but I guess some of it spills over broadly. Yeah. And so if we look at it, what's most, we are building, the research topics, it's all very grounded in our context. And our context is different to the rest of the world. And so the things that matter are efficiency. Resource efficiency is almost number one. We don't have the
quadruple dollars that Europe and the West have.
That the West has. And these constraints mean we have to implement these solutions in very different areas, but it also means that our fundamental research questions are actually very different too. So not only from an application side are we building different types of things in healthcare and different types of things that need to run on device, but in order to support that, our fundamental research questions on how do we make models small enough to run on small devices? How do we make things robust enough to run in these different types of scenarios? How do we make them work with a lot less data? These also differ. And we do see this need that a lot of the things that we are building are driven by a ground need. So the research is far more from application up rather than from where current state is to blue sky to arbitrary future use case that we don't know may or may not happen. Research that you're never sure will ever be useful.
It's Cultural Day today.
Yes.
At the Indaba.
Yes.
Let's look at the fashion, your dress. Tell us about the dress.
I am, today, I actually forgot that there was going to be a cultural day. So I didn't bring any of my South African attire. But this is Kenyan attire from the Kenyan coast. A Diarra from Malindi side of Kenya. And then I had a fan earlier that's going to end. So
the fan matches with the dress, by the way.
And so this dress is actually quite a there we go. This dress is actually quite a Indaba story, because the reason I have this dress is because I've made so many friends at this Indaba. And I went to visit one of my Indaba friends.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah, one of the people who founded Masakhane with me, I went to visit and we went shopping and I got a Diarra. And so that's part of this is, the Pan-African communities being built and being able to have friends all across the continent.
Definitely. Jade, what do you look forward to in terms of the Indaba? We're 7 years now. Your 10th year anniversary is coming.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
What are we looking forward to? What are you looking forward to in terms of the 10th year anniversary?
I think what I'm looking forward to is just that moment of reflection of where everyone has come, these journeys that would have, they take time to do. People studied PhDs. That's a long-term life. Now, what are they doing next? At a 10-year anniversary, you can really have this reflection of people who've not only studied, they've gone on, they've started careers, they've started businesses,
they're in industry,
they're running labs, they're growing them, and so we'll see this massive maturation of what was started, so many years ago. So that's what I'm excited to see.
Jade, thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming to iAfrikan. Cultural Day. I think there's a big social event happening. Looking forward to that. I'm gonna change into something more traditional, cultural. Good. But thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was excellent to be here.